All right, let's catch up on Red Typhoon here. We've played turns 3 and 4. Now we're into turn 5. Sorry I didn't do live playthrough on these, but I wanted to get into it and play, and I just wasn't fast enough to set my camera up. So we're just going to do an after turn review. The Russians are still breaking out, and they're really breaking out strong in the middle. I can't decide what to do down here in the south. I'd actually brought the Germans here. What is this? Second Panzer. I had started to withdraw them. Then I said, oh, there's some holes here. Let's go take some of these locations back. Maybe take a supply post or something back. So I started moving forward again. Then everything broke out up here. And I said, well, now I got to pull them back again. And really haven't done much with the Russians. I tell you, this activation point thing is really, really interesting in this game. I mean, there's no random draw. You get what's on the record track. And so far, the Russians have always had 7. They're going to get 7 again this turn. The Germans were they started with 4 and 4. Then they're going 5, 5, 5. And in the next turn, the Russians will start to come down, and the Germans will start to match them. Somewhat. Yeah, they'll match them all the way to the end. So it'll be even starting on turn 7. So look at the casualties here. All right. Blue stripes and yellow stripes were the forces in the middle of the battlefield. I guess what they call the Moscow Highway, that area. And they've taken a beating, especially the yellow, which is part of the 4th Army. 3rd Panzer's taken a second, Second Panzer's taking a little bit of a beating, and 4th Panzer. But those Panzer units, you can see I've got them all concentrated here in the middle of the battlefield because, like I say, they can move and they can attack. They don't have to have an attack AP drawn for them to attack. So if you select to move the blues and you move them, but you don't select for them to attack, those Panzer divisions can still attack. Let's see. I tried to do a surround up here and got a C result where they just stay in contact. I haven't bothered to go ahead and strangle this unit out yet. Now, here's something interesting. The supply in this game. And it's actually kind of cool. There's no supply phase. You don't have to check it at the end of a turn or the beginning of a turn. You check it at the instant of combat. And if a unit is cut off, enemy zones of control affected, he's isolated, he gets a -1 die roll. So that helps because in the woods, if they're defending in the woods or in a town, they get a -1. The attacker will get a -1 against the defender. But if the defender's not, if he's isolated, it takes that 1 away. So it evens it out. See, turn 4, the airborne came in. I decided that you can put them anywhere within 20 hexes of this first hex row over here. Okay, so I said, well, let's land them there. Let's take that victory location. I don't know if that's the right idea because if they get attacked, they're going to be out of communication because, like I say, it's 6 hexes to a road or a railroad, and then it has to continue enemy free, enemy zone of control free, back all the way back to these supply sources. So if he gets attacked, from what I can see, he's going to be cut off. He's going to be isolated, and it'll be the same for the partisans. They came in down here. I guess that was an okay roll. You roll on, there's 6 zones, and you roll your 6-sided dice, and that's where you place them. And they get partisans on the next 2 turns. So depending on where they roll, that's what woods they'll go in. You know, if I get one down here and 3, or maybe another one in 6, and get over and take those victory locations, because I'm gonna tell you what, the Germans are already thin now. If you get partisans in those cities or towns, somebody's got to go back and get them out. All right, so it looks like the Red's going to set up in defense, probably, I don't know, in those woods or along that river line right there, between those 2 Soviet objectives. I had to burn an activation point, start moving these Romanians forward. There's no special rules that they're dumber than they're worse fighters than the Germans are. They have similar combat strength, so I got to get them forward. They're a little spread out all over the map, though. So I got to get them moving, just in case, something should happen up here. But all in all, the main fight is right in here, and the Russians are winning it. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns left to drive on some of these victory locations. I did do a breakout right here, and I ran some Soviet armor and cavalry into and took Spa-de-Mansk, but those panzer divisions reacted and got a good dice roll, and since they had him isolated, there was one on all three sides of him. He was eliminated, and that's that. Two of those three yellow ones right there is where that came from. No victory markers to drop yet because the Soviets haven't taken anything that any of the red ones, and there's no sense in marking the German ones because they're falling back like quickly. So probably towards the end of the game, I'll have to, or when the fighting gets around these towns back in here, I'll probably start marking these things. Right now, those markers would just be in the way. Okay, so am I enjoying this? Yeah. It plays quickly, and you've got to think about how you're going to apply these activation points. Because like I say, look at the Russians. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 armies, okay? And each army can consume 2 activation points, whether they attack or move or whether they do both. But they're only drawing 7 activation chits. And so you got to decide what you're going to do. And they don't have that special rule like the Germans where panzer divisions, the armor divisions can attack without a combat chit. So, and like I say, the Germans they have 5 armies. And they're going to start drawing 6 chits now. So you figure 3 total armies could move and fight if you needed them to 2 turns from now. But it's hard to decide with the Soviets, trying to figure out which ones you want to move. But I will say this, that pretty much every turn, yellow and blue for the Soviets have moved and fought because that's where the major fight, that's where the bulk of their forces are. I was using the brown, but I decided I need to burn the green. So I tried them. And I didn't realize, but they had a big gap up here. And I wasn't doing nothing with it because they don't really have enough forces to do anything with it. And I'll probably try that attack again to eliminate that Romanian unit. The Romanians hung tough. Down here, the Soviet, 61st Army? I don't know how much more I'm going to do with them. It's one of those things where if I need to use, because you got to use these chits to do both movement and combat. When you only got 7, that's a tough decision to make. But it's guaranteed that blue and yellow are going to use them because they're driving the center of the map. These guys up here, I don't know. Their objectives are all, they would have to swing down. So, I mean, if you pull it out, you can see they're way up here. There's no Soviet objectives along that northern edge. They would have to swing down. But if these guys, and it's literally just, you throw German units in there to delay them. Because these numbers for these Soviet units are massive. So, and when I'm done with this, which is going to be similar, if you look over there, I've got Barbarossa derailed, which is Smolensk. And if you come back to this map, where'd it go? Oh, I was just looking at it. There's Smolensk. Right there. All right, and then there's Vitebsk right there. And over on that game, that's Vitebsk right there and Smolensk back there. Map's a little differently angled. But I'm going to play that Vitebsk scenario to start learning how to play with CS. All right, so I think we're going to bang out a couple more turns. If I don't stop myself here, I'm going to rearrange this room a little bit to get all my games against one wall pretty much. Okay, so as soon as we get some more playing this, we'll post. This game was inexpensive, and this is another one I think that's worth having. It's Revolution Games. I got it during that discount they had, and it's this one's the 3 that I've played. Cell, this one, and Poland Defiant. This one and Poland Defiant, somewhat similar. Very, very good. Cell, I'd say if I had to rank them 1, 2, and 3. Probably this one number 1, Poland Defiant number 2, and Cell would have been number 3. But I still got more Revolution games to play. And I just received a couple of new games here over the last few days in the mail that I'll try to put them all together and do one video. I'm not going to do an unboxing, but I'll do a video showing what they are. All right, so we're going to continue on with this, and we'll post some more as soon as we get done. All right, thanks for watching, y'all. All right, gang. So we just finished up Red Typhoon. And sorry I didn't play it live, but I got to rolling through it and just went on and kept on playing. Well, let's see. Don't really want to show you victory points. Let's take a look at the map here. See the dispositions. The Germans made a little breakout down here to reclaim some victory locations that they had at the start. Down through here. All right. That darn road straight into Moscow, though, they just couldn't do nothing. Couldn't take it back. Russians broke through all along the center. I mean, they could have broke through at any number of points. They hung on to Yartsevo, right there at the top of the screen. Or the Russians took it. The Germans hung on to a little town over here, Nelidova or something like that. And then nothing really much happened up here in the north. However, some Soviet cavalry got around behind and took those victory locations back there. I think if this game had supply rules that affected everything, not just determined to combat, like if it had a supply phase that if you were isolated or you were cut off from supply, it would slow you down. I think that might just make this game complete. Because not having to worry about supply, unless you were being attacked, because it even says in the rules that isolation doesn't apply to attacking units. So, I don't know. It's one less thing you got to worry about checking for every unit when you only have to check the ones that are in combat and defending. So, I mean, that kind of makes the game play a little quicker. So that's the way it looks. Let's do the points. I'll try to explain them to you. First off, let's slide up and look at the casualties. Russian casualties over here, not that extreme. Germans just got beat to hell. So here's the determination. Germans on the left, Soviets on the right. So the shock army for the Soviets, I didn't pull it off till turn 8, so they lose 4 victory points for that. But they took 16 victory point hexes, and they killed, you figure, so 7 times. You get one point for every 5 German units you kill, so they destroyed 35 German units. All right. The Germans, on the other hand, just by retaking a few of their victory, they don't get none for defending the red ones. They get some for taking other ones, according to what I was reading in the rules. So they only got 9, so it was 19-9. I want to check it because here's the victory rules thing right here. And I don't see, unless this player wins, but the game's determined by victory points. So, hex control. At the end of the game, the Soviet player receives victory points for controlling each Soviet victory point city, which are the red circle ones. All right. And then there's the one for casualties, withdrawing of the shock army, and the shock army was never eliminated. Okay. German victory at the end of the game. The German player receives victory points for controlling each German victory point city. The number of victory points is indicated in the gray circle. So, yeah, so they don't get anything for defending the red ones. I guess it's just a question of delaying. And they actually did a good job until like the last 3 turns. They were just overwhelmed because of, zone of control not having an effect on having to attack something. It does stop movement. So after they were able, you focus the combat right in the center on the 2 roads coming from Moscow and just pushed as hard as I could. Then towards the end of the game, when the Germans broke out, I was trying to scramble with the Russians to stop them from getting any points. But they would have had to have taken an awful lot of these back since the Soviets took that. The partisans and the airborne, they came in and they didn't take anything. Probably didn't matter because the Soviet center forces pushed through so hard that, you know, I could have activated them and just moved them 1 hex, but heck, I had a cav unit there that just blew and took all 4 of those in 2 movement turns. So didn't need to do it. And I had no Germans I could get back there to them. I was able to get back to this one and attack it, but you can see what happened there on the last turn, last combat phase. Okay, so overall, this game can play quick. This is another game that I think you could play in one sitting. I will say, keep in mind if you do play this, that from what I'm gathering, the way I read the rules, you decide on the Soviet movement phase. Before you move, you do your activation phase. I mean, they have a phase for it. So what I can't gather from this is, do you place all the AP markers down for movement and attack before you conduct movement? I couldn't quite decipher that, but from what I read, it sounds like before movement, you've got to place all the movement ones down. I don't think I was doing that in the first few turns. I was just deciding, am I going to move this unit? Am I going to move that unit? And placing them as I went, but before they moved. So I guess in a sense, I think what this may be is it forces you to place them all before you move any units of any command, is that once you put them down there, that's what you're going to move. But I really don't know how that would matter. You know, the Germans aren't going to do any kind of reaction during the Russian movement phase, so I really don't see how that would really make a difference, whether you put them down at one time or you just put them down as you decided. I really think you could do it either way and it wouldn't matter. So, and then of course the attack I think is the same way. You know, you say the German or Soviets have 7 APs and you take 4 of them to move with and you move 4 different commands. You might have good attacks. You might have attacks set up in all 4 of those commands. So you could only use 3 activations for combat. You got to look around the battlefield and see which of those 3 formations you want to do the attack with. And there is no dual command attacking. Let me give you an example here. So right here where this blue German unit and the Romanian units are, the pink ones, they had which they got a kill on this last turn. They had a unit surrounded right there. Well, the blue units, the only thing they could do was help try to cut supply off, which that didn't happen it did happen. No, it didn't happen because they had an outlet that way. But for retreat, they couldn't. So the Romanians just got a good enough dice roll to win it, and all the German unit did because they were just there. You couldn't include them. The Panzers, on it, like I explained earlier, if you select the movement chip for that unit or that army, any Panzer division that moves, they don't need an attack chip. They don't need an activation chip in their box in order to attack. And they can attack along with other formations under those circumstances. So the rules aren't, like I said, the rules are only about 6 pages. The game plays pretty smooth. Everything you need is right here on the chart or on the map. All right. Turn track is simple. So simple, there's not even any dates on it. Just numbers. The only box you need, both sides have their AP marker box that you see on the chart there how many they get. Just put them in their box and use them. And then you've got your assignment boxes, okay? Your AP record track, where you decide who's moving and who's attacking. Okay? So, yeah, play smooth. Not hard to learn. You could learn in about 15, 20 minutes. Easily. And be playing this game outside of the chit stuff. It's pretty much a move, fight. I don't think the Germans, there's no, like divisional integrity bonuses or anything, so I don't know how the Germans are even going to stop them other than delaying them. And I have to assume that, this goes 9 game turns to simulate, hey, that was about all the Russians supply-wise, or maybe, I don't know, the plan was to execute this. So I'd have to say they broke through the middle very well, since you can't cut off supply other than during combat. Those units behind, running around behind, I couldn't do nothing with them. I didn't have forces I could get back there. And when I finally decided to do it, they were too far away. So I think what you got to do is you need to protect the middle, because that's where most of the Soviet strength is along this start line right here, all right, going this way, and then up into right about there. They're really, really strong. And then it's just a most spattering of units up here. They can do a little damage, but I don't know how they would do much unless you shifted an army in the first couple of movement turns. And down here, you know, the Soviets in here, you really don't do anything until the Germans fall back. And then, like I say, then you got to decide, well, who am I going to use movement shits on? So I think it's one of these. Germans need to hold on and try to delay around the victory point locations for the Soviets. You know, this unit did a great job down here. They got attacked 3 times, and they kept them Soviets out of there all 3 times. They actually hung on to this one for quite a long time. And I think it was with 2 turns left. They gave it up, maybe 3. And I think it went back and forth once or twice. But like I say, once the Soviets got through also, you cannot allow any holes for mechanized units to break through and slip through. Because if they get behind and they start moving, like I say, there's no supply rule to slow them down on their movement. The only thing you can hope for is to hit them and disrupt a unit in your combat phase so that in their next movement phase, they can't move. And that's kind of hard to do once they broke out. So delay with the Germans. Try not to create any holes, although I don't know how you're going to do that. And keep the Soviets from rushing to these red hexes. And then I would say if you get a pocket and you can get some of these panzer divisions in there, maybe try to move through those gaps and try to take back some of these German city victory point locations. I think, you know, and like I say, these Soviets, they destroyed 35 German units. That's, you know, a lot of good die rolls too. So, all right, fast playing game, good game. Red Typhoon by Revolution Games. I enjoyed it. I would play this one again with no problems whatsoever. All right, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this playthrough here, this session. And like I say, if you enjoy this stuff, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Click subscribe. Keep up to date with what's going on. And if you hit that bell down there for notification, you'll get I think it's an email every time I create something new so you don't miss anything. All right, we'll get this posted as soon as we can and get back to you later. Thanks for watching.